Political showdown, Democrats versus Republicans, scandalous legacies. The arena of American politics has been historically punctuated by episodes of high drama and controversy. The battles between Democrats and Republicans have not only shaped policies but also given rise to some of the most scandalous episodes in U.S. history. This video delves into a comparative exploration of 5 notorious Republicans and 5 equally infamous Democrats. Each of these political figures, marked by their own controversies and scandals, has left an indelible mark on the political landscape. From impeachments to political misdeeds, their stories are a stark reminder of the complexities and challenges of political power and responsibility. Number 1. Richard Nixon, Republican, the Watergate Scandal. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, was at the center of the Watergate scandal after the arrest of 5 men for breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in June 1972. Investigations revealed a connection to Nixon's re-election campaign and a subsequent cover-up. The scandal intensified with the revelation that Nixon had recorded Oval Office conversations, leading to a Supreme Court ruling ordering the release of these tapes. These recordings showed Nixon's involvement in the cover-up, contradicting his previous denials. Facing imminent impeachment and probable conviction, Nixon resigned on August 8, 1974, becoming the only U.S. president to do so. He was later pardoned by his successor, Gerald Ford. Number 2. William Jefferson Clinton, Democrat, the Lewinsky Scandal. Bill Clinton, the 42nd President of the United States, was embroiled in a scandal with White House intern Monica Lewinsky, which surfaced publicly in January 1998. The affair began in 1995 and persisted sporadically until 1997. Initially, Clinton famously denied the affair, stating, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman," but he later confessed to an inappropriate relationship. This admission led to impeachment charges by the House of Representatives in December 1998 for perjury and obstruction of justice, centered on his misleading testimony and efforts to conceal the affair. The case captivated public attention, highlighted by extensive media coverage and intense political debate. After a closely watched Senate trial, Clinton was acquitted on February 12, 1999. Despite his acquittal, the scandal left an indelible stain on his presidency and personal reputation, overshadowing his policy achievements and altering the public discourse on presidential ethics and personal behavior. Number 3. Joseph McCarthy, Republican, the Red Scare. Senator Joseph McCarthy, a Republican from Wisconsin, ignited the Red Scare in the early 1950s by claiming to have a list of communists in the U.S. government. His era, known as McCarthyism, was marked by aggressive accusations and investigations into supposed communist ties, often without solid evidence. McCarthy targeted government employees, entertainers, and academics, leading to widespread fear and ruined careers. His influence peaked as chairman of the Senate's Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations in 1953-54. However, his tactics were exposed during the televised Army McCarthy hearings in 1954, leading to his censure by the Senate on December 2, 1954, for conduct unbecoming of a senator. This censure marked the downfall of his political influence and tarnished his legacy. Number 4. Andrew Johnson, Democrat, presidential impeachment. Andrew Johnson, the 17th President of the United States, took office in 1865 after Abraham Lincoln's assassination. His term was marked by conflicts with Congress over Reconstruction policies. The conflict escalated when Johnson violated the Tenure of Office Act by dismissing Secretary of War Edwin M. Stanton, leading to his impeachment by the House in 1868. The main charge was his violation of this act, designed to limit presidential power over certain office dismissals. Johnson's impeachment trial in the Senate was narrowly decided, with Johnson escaping removal by 1 vote. Though he completed his term, his presidency was weakened, and he had little impact on Reconstruction. Johnson's impeachment set a precedent in U.S. presidential history, highlighting the tensions between the executive and legislative branches. Number 5. Spiro Agnew, Republican, resignation over corruption. Spiro Agnew, the 39th vice president under President Nixon, resigned on October 10, 1973, due to corruption charges. These charges, stemming from his tenure as governor of Maryland, involved accepting bribes over $100,000 in exchange for contracts. The investigation revealed this misconduct continued into his vice presidency. Facing charges of tax evasion, bribery, and extortion, Agnew struck a plea deal, pleading no contest to a single felony charge of tax evasion. His resignation was historic, marking the first time a U.S. vice president resigned under criminal charges. This scandal, although overshadowed by Watergate, significantly tarnished the Nixon administration's reputation. Number 6. James Buchanan, Democrat, Prelude to Civil War. James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States from 1857 to 1861, is criticized for his passive approach to the escalating conflict between slave and free states. Buchanan's support for the Dred Scott decision, which ruled that Congress couldn't ban slavery in territories, and his backing of the pro-slavery Lecompton Constitution in Kansas, deepened the national divide. His stance on states' rights and inability to effectively address the growing tension between the North and South contributed to the secession of Southern states, leading to the Civil War. Buchanan's presidency is often viewed as one of the least effective, marked by a failure to prevent the nation's slide into conflict. Number 7. Richard Cheney, Republican, Iraq War and Enhanced Interrogation Techniques. Richard Cheney, as the 46th Vice President under George W. Bush, played a crucial role in the War on Terror and the 2003 Iraq War. He strongly advocated for the invasion of Iraq, asserting the presence of weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, and alleged links between Iraq and terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda. However, subsequent investigations failed to find conclusive evidence of WMDs, leading to controversy over the war's justification. Cheney also supported enhanced interrogation techniques on terrorism suspects, including waterboarding and sleep deprivation. These practices, criticized as torture by human rights groups, sparked global debate over their legality and morality, significantly impacting the U.S.'s international reputation. Number 8. Lyndon B Johnson, Democrat, Vietnam War escalation. Lyndon B Johnson, the 36th President of the United States, significantly escalated American involvement in the Vietnam War. Despite initial reluctance, the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964 led Johnson to increase military engagement, with U.S. troop numbers in Vietnam growing from 16,000 to over 500,000 during his presidency. This escalation was part of an effort to contain communism in Southeast Asia but resulted in a prolonged, costly conflict that was deeply unpopular at home. The Vietnam War's unpopularity contributed to Johnson's decision not to run for re-election in 1968 and profoundly affected his legacy, highlighting the challenges and consequences of foreign military interventions. Number 9. Oliver North, Republican, Iran-Contra affair. Oliver North, serving on the National Security Council during the Reagan administration, was a key figure in the Iran-Contra affair. This political scandal, which came to light in 1986, involved secretly selling arms to Iran, despite an arms embargo, and using the proceeds to fund Contra rebels in Nicaragua, in violation of the Boland Amendment. The objective was to facilitate the release of American hostages in Lebanon and to support the Contras against Nicaragua's socialist government. North admitted to misleading Congress and destroying relevant documents during televised hearings in 1987. Although he was convicted in 1989 on charges including aiding the obstruction of Congress and destroying documents, these convictions were vacated in 1991, citing potential bias from his congressional testimony being used in his trial. Number 10. Rod Blagojevich, Democrat, Corruption and Impeachment. Rod Blagojevich, the governor of Illinois, was impeached and removed from office in 2009 due to corruption charges. Central to the scandal was his attempt to sell the U.S. Senate seat left vacant by Barack Obama in 2008. Arrested in December 2008, Blagojevich faced charges of mail-in wire fraud, attempted extortion, and solicitation of bribery, notably for seeking personal gains in exchange for Obama's Senate seat. The Illinois House voted unanimously to impeach him, and the Senate convicted him, leading to his removal. In 2011, he was found guilty on multiple charges, including wire fraud and solicitation of bribes, resulting in a 14-year prison sentence. This case stands as a notable example of political corruption in recent U.S. history.